Hi, this is Meghan Falcone.
This is Meghan's husband, Josh.
And Seth Brenner?
And Amy Vorpahl!
Yay! Oh, we're so happy to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this, Amy. Wow.
This is a ding-dang treat, is what I will say.
We've known each other for, I guess, almost a decade now.
Almost 20 years, honestly. Because I've lived here 17 years, and
we met right away.
We met right away doing UCB.
Oh my
But
God.
I've got you beat.
But yeah.
We go back to 2003.
Yes.
The Tommy Tune Awards,
That's
Houston,
right.
Texas.
Yes, you were the Nathan Lane character, and a funny thing happened all the way to the
And you were
forum.
Dolly, the titular Dolly.
I was not.
No, I have that wrong?
I was Maria in the Sound of Music.
That's right.
I'm sorry, you're from Houston?
Yes.
Surprise!
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
Josh and I have a picture with each other
Yeah.
with Andrew Lloyd Weber and George
H.W. Bush
H.W.
and Barbara.
Bush. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Just a little background. This is a Houston area high school theater music awards.
Which, by the way, I have to explain to people that in Texas, everything is competitive. Like
Of course.
You can't, including art. Like you can't.
Especially art.
Tommy Tune, Longhorn.
Oh,
You
okay.
guys, the connections here are
Deep.
unending.
Very cool. It's very
I'll
cool.
say that having known you now for a long time,
Yes.
we actually have never talked about your dating life.
No, I don't think. I talk about it like tongue in cheek publicly, like, oh, I'm dating a lot, haha, or still single, or just like
Yeah.
when people ask or whatever. Anything that's fun or funny, but nothing like this.
I thought about having you on the podcast a long time ago, and I'm going to read the reason why.
Oh, Jesus.
You posted on your social media account, Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, no, not this one. Are we
Really?
doing this one? Wait, what?
It's an ambush.
Oh, God dang.
Okay, I'll paraphrase.
No, it's very public. Like, I haven't deleted it, although I
Okay.
have thought about deleting it.
Amy basically posted Happy Valentine's Day to me, and she spoke really honestly about how incredible she is, which is true. She is so talented. She's an incredible actress. She's an incredible improviser. She's an incredible artist and creator. I mean, and an incredible person. And what she put at the end of this is that I would be the best wife and mother, which I also think is so true. And after going on over 100 dates over the past 16 months, it sure isn't my fault that a truly formidable man hasn't stepped up for this absolute queen.
Yes!
And I love it.
Yes!
And you ended your post saying, if you have a partner, you better cherish them because the rest of us really want something that you have.
Well, I don't know if I agree with everything you said up until that last little bit.
But the last bit gave me chills because it is something I think when you have a partner, you forget how lucky you are to have the partner, and you also
Yes.
forget the journey that people are taking to find that partner.
What do you disagree with?
I think a lot of people are very happy and content to be single and do their own thing. Now, I'm not saying
I think that's true, too.
I'm not saying that the other option isn't great and amazing. I just think there are a lot of people that are so content with their lives. To find a partner is a very difficult and challenging thing to do.
Who might you be talking
Am I
about?
projecting?
Yeah,
Am I projecting?
Let's do a check-in. Where do both of you, the single people at the table, feel about wanting or not wanting a partner?
I know that I'm meant to be with a partner. Like, that's just, it's kind of one of those, like, oh, yeah, that's just going to happen. But I do agree with you where it's, how do I want to say this? Like, I'm good. So it would have to be supremely additive in an exponential way. Like, it would not be 1 + 1 = 2. It would be 1 + 1 = like 10,000 for me to, give up. The stuff
I like to say I'm ready to settle down, but not settle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I will say, I listened to one of y'all's episodes, and one of the women was like, oh, 80% is good, and you were like, absolutely not, and I was like, yeah, absolutely not.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, what's your,
Okay.
so wait, is 100% your percentage?
100%, that's it.
100%.
I would take 97, 96%.
Oh, okay.
I would be okay.
He's a little older than you.
well, I mean, but like, I think I also get a lot of dating advice that's from people who met in their 20s, and they had a lot of growth to do. I'm 39, and it's like, well, I grew a lot. I already did grow a lot. So I am looking for someone who also has grown. The advice isn't quite right. Like, I'm getting, oh, well, you need to do this, and you might need to hold their hand and show them this. And I'm like, unfortunately, I don't. Like,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
well, exactly, yeah.
You did like a symposium about
Yes.
physical touch and intimacy.
Yes. Yeah, we may as well say what the name of it is. It's called Be Horny on Maine.
I love it.
Yeah. So I had written a movie that was about like my dating journey. It was called Getting effed for Christmas. And it was about a woman who writes to Santa that she wants to get laid for Christmas, and she gets sent like a magical elf who helps on her journey.
I love
And
this.
it's so funny and lighthearted. And then at the end of the day, she's realizing she just wants to get laid because she thinks she can't have what she actually wants, which is like a true relationship. Which no knocks on people who just want to get laid. Like, that's great too. But the story itself was
There is
more...
absolutely zero kink shaming on this.
Yeah, for sure. But I started pitching it, and I realized I wasn't going all in on it because I was embarrassed that maybe I would be the woman who wrote this, you know? And then what would my family think? And then I'm the lady who's like, you know, writing about sex, or even though like it's part of me. So I was like, well, I'm gonna swing the pendulum, do a summit, have all these interviews, become that woman, see if I turn to dust, or get canceled or anything.
Great.
Nothing happened. No one cared. No one was confused either. They're like, no shit, Amy, you're like a sexual being. Okay, I got it. And I was like, okay. It was fun. It was fun to meet like sexologists and lots of doms and kinks who like have master's degrees on sensual pleasure versus pain. Like,
cool.
Yeah.
Wait, so you just like conducted interviews and like audience guests? Like how did it?
Yeah, it was almost like a truncated podcast. You know, like it also was a bit of an entrepreneurial thing. Like if people sign up, see what they want or whatever, and it turned out what they wanted was kind of dating. Everyone was like, we want to be horny on Maine. We just don't have a person to do it with. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want a dating coach. Like, I don't want a dating coach, you guys. They do say that your audience is you, like a reflection of you, and it's like, okay, that loud and clear, you know. Like, I also would like to be horny on Maine, and I'm looking for a person to do that.
That's really interesting because our audience.
It's our parents' friends.
Okay.
So they're gonna love you.
Oh
boy. They are.
I will say, moms do love me, and I have spoken about sex with moms, like very comfortably. But
You've spoken about the concept of sex with moms, or you've spoken about the topic of having sex with mothers?
No, with Josh. No, the first one.
Okay, good.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
good.
Yeah.
But again, no kink shaming on this.
I am constantly telling Seth he needs to touch his dates more.
Do you understand how awful that sentence is?
I know,
mean,
let me explain. I think on a first date, if you like someone, you should like rub their arm or like.
Wow. For those listening at home, Amy's eyes just popped fully out of her head.
Okay. I have a note for y'all, actually.
Thank you.
About this podcast.
This is preemptive points for Amy here.
Yeah.
So you get very excited when there's something that's going well on a first date, and then you get really like, what happened? You messed up on a first date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what you should be getting excited about is if Seth has a first date, comes back and goes, it was fine. And you should be going, yay, that's awesome. It should be like the shruggy emoji, because that's the correct answer after a first date. Anything higher or lower, something else is driving that bus. First date off the apps is nothing. Like, it matters not at all.
Oh, that's so sad.
No, thank you.
It is a fart in the wind. Like, it does nothing, you know, like la, it may as well not have happened. What's their name? Who cares? Like,
You owe them nothing, they owe you nothing.
yeah, and like, it's not that they don't matter, they're humans and they matter, but like
No, you're right, they don't matter.
Okay, I think so too.
Okay, so when do they matter?
At some point. That's all I'll say. Like, what are the expectations going into this? Like,
Marriage!
yeah. So, like, my first dates, I mean, it's just like, I call them, with my friends, I just call them Buttsniffers, because it's just like, the dogs are just like circling and just going, all right.
It's a meet and greet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you
if
personally,
a man touched me, I might go straight to like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm so big on intention. Like, the energy is so important. So on a first date, it would depend, but I might go, this man probably might want to sleep with me too soon. If like I don't, because we don't know each other. We don't know each other. This is a stranger. Like, this is what
Yes,
this
it's
is
a complete stranger. You
have
can't
it.
just touch them.
Meghan just went, oh, like this is the first time anyone has ever pushed back on her theory of
Meghan,
over-touching
a stranger, like a stranger, like someone who is like our biggest predator, comes up and goes like that.
This is what I think is good about it. As soon as it happens, I either know, like, I feel safe with this person or I don't. Like, I think it's very clarifying.
You're doubling down
Yeah.
after my, like, thesis?
No.
Doubling down. She's 50 times doubling.
Okay. first dates for me are always during the day. They're coffee. They're 45 minutes. I treat it like a butt sniff.
And what are you sniffing for specifically?
Nothing.
Okay.
I can't even tell. Like nothing. Literally nothing.
You're like looking for the absence of like worms.
Because what you need to know. What you need to know is the people that you go on first dates with. None of them are going to be your person, except one, right? But none other than that. Like, you will not be my person. Yes, let's go on a first date. You also will not. Yes, let's go on a first date. Like, you're coming at it like maybe the one will come, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong. Go at it like, yeah, maybe, but probably not.
No,
so let's go on a first date.
100% right. And what you're describing is also why I really like to have a phone call first or a FaceTime first. That way you can also eliminate these people where you're like, okay, this person.
Although I disagree. I would rather just get it out of the way, meet in person.
Totally fair, but I think you can totally learn a lot about somebody in a 20-minute phone call.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 dimensions. Like, there's not a third dimension. There's not. It's a flat person. It almost doesn't exist. It may as well be AI.
Oh, it's often AI.
And I'm attracted to those people. I'm attracted to those men.
I mean, they have my heart and my soul.
I am like, hello. I know you are, but let's get on WhatsApp. I don't care.
I want to point out that Amy and Seth are dressed almost identically. Amy wore her cowboy boots in support of Seth.
Have we matched in the past?
I don't think we
What
have.
apps are you on? How long have you been looking?
So I'm 39 and I have been single most of my life and I've had 2 relationships that were 2 years or like one was almost 2 years, one was 2 years. Other than that, everything was like 3 months maybe or weeks. And does that count? Who knows? You know,
We count it for Seth.
Yeah, mostly it's being single and being very good at being single, I will say.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with.
I have no regrets. Let me just say that. I've learned a lot about myself and am more Amy because of it. So no knocks on that.
Yeah, I'm 0% Josh anymore.
I don't believe
I haven't been Josh in
I don't believe
8-10 years.
No. I even after listening to the podcast, I'm like, oh, they're not giving codependent at all. Like they couldn't.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to us.
What else? I hired a dating coach a couple of years ago for 6 months. That was very interesting. Her deal was to help masculine-leaning women exercise their feminine muscle without losing their like masculinity. That has obviously like helped them, succeed and earn money and shit like that. But,
yeah, that's so interesting. Wait, the premise being that leaning into the feminine is like how you garner success?
Like anything that's type A, very organized, structured. Let's get that A+. Let's earn the money, be independent. Like masculinity is rewarded in our society and women have picked up on it. So that removes an opportunity for polarity in relationships where the man gets to lead and like show how cool, strong. Like this is barbaric language, but it is, I believe in it. Like getting into gender issues, but I like it just because, part of being single is doing everything yourself. And someone said, oh, the love language thing, I've done that. And they were like, acts of service is the lowest one. And I was like, yeah, I don't even know what that would be. Like, what is that? And they're like, if someone makes a sandwich for you. I was like, what? Like, that's a possibility? Yeah, wait, let's move that to the top. So the woman is like, no, you can like relax into femininity, which isn't doing nothing. It's not just laying down and being like, look how pretty I am, but it is a lot of allowing, a lot of like, ooh, let's see what happens, some mystery, some lack of control, but in a very nurturing way. Just the energy of femininity.
I could lean into some femininity. That sounds.
I think you
You
have plenty.
yeah. This is so interesting because I think like you've worked so hard to succeed, and all of the ways that you succeed as an individual make it challenging in a partnership, perhaps.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a geographical difference? I have dated in many regions of this country.
Feather in your cap.
Thank you. It's no big deal. I don't like to talk about it a lot, except on this podcast. Do you think there is a regional distinction between what you're describing in Los Angeles versus other parts of the country where maybe more gender roles are, I don't want to say permissible, but just...
I wouldn't even know the first place to start to answer this, but my instinct is no. I think women are taught at an early age because of schools, basically, weirdly enough, that this gets rewarded, that does not. Like the therapist of the friend group, that kind of thing, or the soccer mom of the friend group, that doesn't get rewarded. I think, and I will say geographically, maybe I believe this about America and maybe not other countries who are a little bit more tribal, matriarchal. I don't know.
So did you find either through this coaching or prior to it, that relationships were hitting road bumps because men were intimidated by you?
Yeah, I do think that's true. But the dating coach, look, what did I learn? You know, you can only go, you're still yourself, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. So, I say sadly, no. But, one of the things that'll just is a good metaphor for it is she let me allow men to pay for my coffee, which was an exercise for me, and it was wildly uncomfortable, and I did learn how to do that.
Okay, so why was it uncomfortable for you before, and what was the transition like?
Because, and I know I'm not alone in this because I've talked to girlfriends about this, that any effort or money a man spends on you, time, effort, money, whatever, you feel that on some subconscious level that you might owe him that amount of sexual act.
Oh.
So if it's a $5 coffee, maybe that means a hug. But like anything else, you're like, oh God, what do I owe back? Because you're in that masculine mindset of like, oh, money, oh, equal.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. This is so interesting because Seth always pays, and I'm like, yeah, you should.
But if I ask someone out,
yes,
I'm gonna take them out. And
yes.
An offer to pay is always welcome. One of my best friends is a plastic surgeon. She is incredibly successful. She makes an obscene amount of money. She's still single. She's, I think, 38, also 39.
What is the holdup, Seth?
Let's go.
When she goes out with men, they are oftentimes totally emasculated by the fact that she makes so much more, not just a little bit more money than them, but so much more money than them, offers to pay, offers to contribute, and they find it as a complete turnoff to them.
Like, again, we're getting to gender norms, but I also believe that, like, it also just depends on what you're looking for. Like, I've done my time with with like what I would call non-masculine men, and I do want a masculine man, and so that is up to me to like let myself be feminine, you know, like there can't, it's just gonna butt heads.
You can't have two alpha dogs.
Yeah. But
Don't
yes.
call her a dog.
No, I'm saying that's my highest praise. I love dogs so much.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been over this.
The alpha golden retriever.
How did it feel when you started?
Really, really uncomfortable. And there were 3 times I can count where you go to the coffee thing and like order my almond milk latte, and then they're like, "Great, is that all?" And I'll go, "Is it all?" You know, and usually the guy's like, I got it, and you know, and I'll get this or whatever. Like, it's normally fine, but there were 3 times where I go, "Is it all?" Like, he's 6 feet away, and I'm like, "Yes, that will be all." You know, like without, I understand what's happening here, and it's fine, and like I don't care, but also kind of a turn off, you know, for someone to be like, "I will not be paying $6 for this date," and like, you know, up against the wall, and the bag is yeah, so that's out there.
So you saw your dating coach for 6 months.
Yeah.
Would you recommend a dating coach for someone like Seth?
I don't know, because it was geared towards women. I don't even know what the advice would be for men, but I have an idea.
Yes.
Men have actually gotten the short end of the stick as well. Like, they internalize, great, the thing that the energy I'm gonna put out is not a threat. That is, you know, good in certain situations, and then in a romance situation is, I don't know if I'm saying this right, not hot.
Yes, because, okay, I actually think this is such a good point, because Seth gets a lot of feedback after first dates that it's like, I just see you as a friend, and I think it's because he is not threatening.
Okay.
So be more threatening and touch them.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But if everyone's saying like I guess if it's like happening a lot and you wish it were different, then maybe change something. But if it's happening a lot and you're like, yeah, that does feel like a friend, then there's again, it's like the first date. It just like,
but also,
doesn't matter.
we've talked about this before. I would love to be friends with some of these women and hang out with them.
Yeah,
and
so
you
it's
meet
not-
some cool people
I
out
agree,
there.
I
Some
agree.
ghoul people?
It's a spooky town, Megan.
You meet some really cool people out there, and you'd like to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll say this too. Seth just is like a sweet, nice guy.
Yeah.
I think if he was presenting sweet, nice guy, but he's actually something else, because he's very much being...
But it's not binary. It's not like you're either this, you know, like Hulk figure that is gonna
Thank you.
or Seth. As
I think that's 10 points for Amy.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy's on the board.
Because we're from Texas, this we make it competitive.
Yeah, it's a competitive podcasting.
Oh my. I had this once where a guy was like, I got this. And it was like, wow, oh, he's taking charge. Oh, and he led the conversation. He did a lot of stuff that was, initially good. And then he wanted to take me to buy a new wardrobe for me. Like, it was control.
How quickly did that happen from
So I will say,
dinner to wardrobe?
After the first date, I was at my car and he like pulled me in for a massive kiss that was like, whoa, like in the middle of the street in the daytime.
Did you like it?
I mean, the kiss was great, but like it was inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm into this because you can't help it. Like a smooch is a smooch, but yeah, the jarringness of like the setting, the context was way off. So then he's texted me things that only use the pronoun us and we, like we're gonna be doing this. I like us, like that kind of thing. I was like, oh, okay, so that's the toxic version, but. You never know.
I want to go back to, the us and we. I could see some people being like, oh, he already thinks of us as an
Meghan.
us and we.
After a first
Some
date?
people.
No. Those people deserve each other. But like for healthy humans,
Yes,
absolutely not.
And for adults, because you guys are two adults who have really happy lives. I also think.
So you agree with us?
Yeah. I think that it's like almost like an attack on you, right? Because you're like, I am a person.
Yes.
Don't assume that I need to be a part of your person.
There doesn't actually need to be any psychology here because it's
you're
crazy.
Yeah, if I went out with someone one time, even if we did have a Hong Kong situation, and then the next day she's like, hey, what are we doing this weekend? Or hey, I'm meeting my mom for coffee. Do you want to come join us? I would be totally freaked out.
Yeah,
just at
blocked. Block number. Like,
wow.
No, I wouldn't block.
He keeps the door open for everything.
Is part of this though like the meta game of we're all already dating so much? It's like that person, if their MO in the dating world, like going on Bumble dates, is after a first date, knowing all there is to know about first dates, is saying things that intense, you're like, oh, this person's obviously crazy because no one does that. Do you know what I mean? Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
I think I do know what you're talking about, and you're doing too much work. Like there's
Seth is always telling us this.
You're diagnosing things that it's like, oh, maybe there's too much. It's just like humanity, and logic and gut instinct. Like
but I'm sure there's this guy who was ready to.
I'm sure it worked.
And I'm sure I've had plenty of girls who have texted me immediately after I had so much fun. What are we doing? Let's do this. I'm sure if they connected, sparks would fly.
So I went on 120 dates in 16 months.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Most of them were coffee dates. I either ended it after a second date, or they did, or whatever, or it ended after a fifth date. It never ended after a third or fourth, which is interesting.
How are you doing?
That's
good. Traumatic, I feel
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Yeah,
Again,
that's what
it's
you
like, it's nothing. 120 farts in the wind. I might have inhaled
but this
some.
is the
No,
problem.
I would be
No,
concerned
but
about
this is
your
the problem.
bowels.
No, this is the problem. You couples you're on this pedestal. You think we have these shallow, empty, meaningless lives.
Wrong.
Nobody said that.
No.
Oh,
wrong.
wrong.
I'm not saying you two. I'm not saying you two. I'm saying there's this overall societal looking down upon these single people that are like
It's sensationalized. Dating is sensationalized.
What do you mean on this podcast about dating? I actually think you're both busier in your lives than either of us are combined.
Well, that's
so
just nothing.
making
That
time
literally
for a
compares
coffee,
nothing.
it really takes time away from all of your other pursuits.
It is an intentional thing. Like you do put it in your calendar, but I mean, it's not that different from putting the gym in your schedule. You work out 45 an hour. You go on a date.
I don't do
45
that
an hour.
either. Okay, so of your dates, what percentage would you say were like neutral?
100%.
None were bad.
None were bad.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get the feeling that the women that you're talking about on these podcasts go into the first date with an expectation like this could be my partner.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, he's not.
Yeah.
And I go into it going, I'm gonna sniff your butt and you're gonna sniff mine, and that's.
You guys have
That's
such a
that.
similar mindset.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
We talk a lot on this podcast about Seth's sparkometer, sort of how overall excited he is about a date.
Yeah.
And I think we always think like, oh well, if it's in those like upper 4 regions, he out of 5-point scale.
Let's give him the scale here.
That's a good sign. But
Yeah.
I think you would say like you really just want to be sitting around 2.5, very like whatever.
I've learned that I can't trust just that anyway. I do have a gendered belief around this too, which may be unpopular, but I do believe it. I heard it somewhere and I was like, I think that's true. That almost immediately men need to be attracted to the woman and the woman needs to be impressed by the man.
Oh.
And it can be any on a spectrum, right? It doesn't have to be like zing zing wow ooga ooga, you know, but it can be like, like I think you give every one of your ratings, the ones I've listened to, a 4 or something or higher. You're never like, it was a 3.
Very rarely does it dip below.
Well, that's the thing. Again, we're trying to make better dating choices here,
Yeah.
and you want to be attracted to your partner.
Yes, yes, I do know that.
But
yeah.
this is interesting. So what you've just said, Amy, makes me think the onus is a little bit on Seth to impress, because Seth has pre-screened for physical attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which I think is correct. Like, I mean, call it toxic, but I think a man. What I was going to say,
we do, and we will.
But I do think that like the attraction level that a man feels towards a woman isn't gonna go lower. It's not gonna go higher either.
Yeah.
And so, but a woman can grow more attracted to a man.
Well, no, I think that can work both ways. I think you
can grow.
I think absolutely a guy
okay.
can.
But I think less, because you and I talk about this all the time, and I'm like, I said to Seth, if you have a me time, if you have like we can have a conversation, we can hang out, give a person 3 dates. Because in 3 days, Amy almost did a spit take. Because what?
Meghan says anything and Amy's eyes bug out.
Because in 3 dates, a woman could like grow. Like I feel like it could grow. And Seth is like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I think I agree with Seth.
Why are you so hesitant to say that? It's okay to agree. It's okay to agree with Seth on this show.
The guys who went from 1 date to 5 dates.
Yeah.
What was it that made you check back in? Was there a common theme? Was there something they did? Were they all different? Like, what was it?
What was a common theme? I think I liked them, and they also liked me. I don't know that it's much simpler than that. They felt like friends right away.
Okay.
They felt like friends.
Did your attraction to them increase at all as the subsequent?
It did. Yep, it sure did. I would say that both of the first times were really awkward, and like if I was being like super militant about things, there were so many things that I would be like, well, no, because of that. Well, no, because of that. Well, no, because they felt like such friends, it was like I might need to like learn a little bit more. Like one guy, I think he was just nervous, but he kept restarting his sentences. Like, hold on, let me do that again. And like, yeah, it was like that could be a red flag, or like what's underneath that. And also, I like him, and I like what he said the second time, so it was fine. Yeah.
That's more what I meant by meh. Like sometimes Seth will be like,
oh,
we had a good connection. It was a 4.2 on the Sparkometer, but like I don't know, conversation wasn't so. It was like a little halted or something, and I'd be like, give them another chance because they're nervous, or give them another chance because.
Yeah, but you feel it. I've had men who were.
Yes,
it's
palpable.
It is palpable because I had a man who was very similar to the man I described, and it was like the conversation would lull, and he would get deer in headlights.
Oh, wow.
And like get like so, and I was practicing femininity, which is like participating for sure, but not leading the conversation. And when I allowed men to lead and they were nervous, it turned into them listing their resume without fail. Like they just like, and then I did this, and then and one guy did it. He went through his entire resume like twice.
Oh my gosh.
But that's what happened.
What did you say? Were you like, we've kind of covered that?
I again, like it doesn't matter. So I'm just there for the experience. And
did you feel like you needed to share your resume?
Absolutely not. No, he didn't even ask about me. He was too busy, and I was like, wow, okay, wow.
So since you have like that sample size over 100, I'm very interested in the math. Can you ballpark a percentage of like how many people where you're like sitting down with them and you're like, oh boy, no chance, almost right away?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, it is so instant. It's a yes until it's a no, but when it's a no, it's a no. You can, and again, like most people are no. Like most people just are. On a no, I just go, great, I'm here for 45 minutes. Let's see what, like, who the hell are you? I get to meet a new person. That's so fun.
That's what he always says.
I love meeting new people.
Yeah, it's great.
I
feel like that's what I'll miss when I'm in a relationship.
It's impossible to make a platonic opposite sex friend if you're in a relationship.
I fundamentally disagree.
It's not
that will be.
It's very difficult to randomly meet a girl.
That's going to be a problem if that's true in my relationship.
It's because he dates a lot of anxious attachment styles.
You mean to tell me that if Josh sat next to a woman on a flight, she was
Amy,
getting-
do you talk to people on planes?
It depends, but yeah, I mean, like it
Wow.
really it depends. I'm not holding anyone hostage. I'll say that. Like
I am.
if,
I'm not afraid to admit it.
Okay.
When you are blessed with friends of the opposite sex, it is a huge problem oftentimes for your partner.
All right, Seth. We finally know why you can't get a second date.
I have an enormous, like an almost overwhelming amount of male friends who are strictly platonic, and also my biggest champions for dating.
I'm not gonna say it right, but you mentioned like Muay Thai.
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai and another activity that you're like, those things light me up. I would
punching
rather.
men in the face.
That's Muay Thai.
That's
It's
those
the
are
same
good.
guy.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
reading a really good book.
Yeah.
And Seth, we all similarly have the conversation. Like he could be like skiing or like on the golf
Golfing
course
or-
or something like
Yeah,
that.
these are the things that I know, like you have mentioned,
Yes.
I'm going to get total satisfaction out of,
Yes.
and would so much rather do than go on a boring second date.
The first one gets scot-free. Like, who the hell are you? It doesn't matter. But the second time, it's like, I kind of know what I'm going to get from this. So if it's not going to, like I said, 1 + 1 = 10, like a bunch, then I can't.
Desperately want to hear about like a date that you went on.
A date.
But I think just any like in closing thoughts of advice for Seth, or I guess perhaps advice for Josh and I.
Yeah, because I'm finding this very interesting
Yeah.
how similar your guys' thoughts are on these things that we have very like incorrect thoughts about.
And
because
yet
we-
feel like you're completely correct about.
well, with you, I think it's confusing. It's a little bit of cognitive dissonance because with you we know we're right, and with Amy we're less
right,
sure.
maybe.
We're like,
Sure.
because she seems very smart.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. That's
But it's been
welcome to the podcast. This is,
it's-
I don't
it's
know. I'm
very-
getting complimented
oh
left and
no,
right,
no,
so-
it's me just getting
Yes.
hammered.
I'm having a great time.
It's
Yeah.
very
So
interesting
pretty.
that you guys both are like so open to the experience of like meeting new people and like not being bothered by it, whatever, and also so like fulfilled by your regular daily lives and could sort of take
Okay.
or leave some of it. And I think
here's
that's
my
an interesting.
here's my closing thoughts. So I've heard a couple of times that like the self-deprecation and the deprecation towards Seth is very much okay. It's indicative. It's like reductive to go, oh, it's because he's this, it's because he's that. Because for me, people are like, yeah, what happened? Like, you're a catch. I just think you're the best. If that's what you want, you absolutely should have it, which I'm sure you're getting as well. Like, just confusion.
Nobody
Oh,
calls me a catch.
all right. Well,
We could do a supercut right now of all the times I've called you a catch on this podcast.
Yeah, you
Dozens.
are a catch.
well, it's like there's probably 30 reasons why it hasn't happened, and it's not something that I'm going to do or not do that's going to trigger this relationship, this husband just appearing in my life or not. Like I can't, like basically I can't screw it up too.
So how do you remain hopeful when you have this very realistic outlook on what it all is?
Because it's hard. I will say it's not the easiest thing, but it's like I would call it blind faith. So that's how. So I have a mantra that I repeat to myself, which is, in the vast desert of nothing, I will find an oasis. And like, okay, so
oh
that
man,
sounds,
we're gonna take that.
that sounds so dismal, but it's also like this I also like a healthy sense of nihilism too. Like, oh, nothing matters, so I don't know, like, oh, that happened, well, an objective.
You're speaking our language.
Yeah.
I'm being as intentional as I can. I'm making as good guesses as I can. I'm flawed in so many ways, but it is. The shruggy emoji is like that's the emoji I use all the time with my friends. It's just like
We use the smiley face melting into the
Oh,
ground.
Yeah. Which is when we're in the middle of the
The
desert.
nihilism. Yeah, the nihilistic desert.
Although I'm having a thought right now, which is that many people write into the podcast to try and set Seth up. If you
Yes.
have a great Amy setup, are you interested in an Amy setup?
oh my gosh, yeah, I'll date anyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, first date. Like,
Yeah. You'll
yeah.
sniff a butt.
I'll sniff a butt. Yeah.
Seth is very hesitant to a setup because the obligation to the third party.
They don't care.
No.
Everyone's
Yeah.
got
They don't care.
everyone's got everyone's best interest in mind. Everyone's guessing. Everyone wants to be the matchmaker, and if they're not, they go like, no one's watching. It's like thumbs up, thumbs down. They've got to take care of their kids or whatever. So
I did just get I just got a text from someone who attempted a Seth up. Quote, I get too excited and have honestly had zero success in setting people up, but won't stop me from trying.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think like that's the
That's
attitude.
exciting,
Like,
and then but it's not gonna stop anybody. But yeah, that's cute. I think that's cute. I think I am a big fan of flirt energy all day long. Like flirt energy is the best energy. It's
he
like
says this too.
But again, that energy dissipates when you are in a relationship.
I hope that doesn't. I hope that's not true.
It stays alive.
No, I mean with other people, like just going out in the world and being like, you know,
yeah, that
like,
does.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Oh,
you don't get
man.
to sniff
Oh, my God.
quite as many butts.
Oh, all right.
I feel like we're going to have to keep you for a second episode.
Let's go. I'm having a great time.
Okay, good.